Alrighty, what a wonderful day here. Cape Cod, Buzzards Bay, Mass. I've been out in the water's warm. Got me a basket full of quahogs. Look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Nice full basket. We're gonna make some stuffed quahogs. Got a few cherry stones for my mom. Here's my rake. I made that rake actually when I was a kid. Took and welded all the teeth up and heated it up and hardened it, and I've been quahogging with it ever since. Alright, dump the basket out here, and I gotta sort them out, put the ones for the stuffers together, and sorry for the shadow. Sort out the little ones for my mom for tomorrow for Mother's Day. My favorite way to eat quahogs, get out of the sun again here, there we go, is to eat them raw. Love them raw. Smack them open on a rock out in the water and chow them down. But this is what you call a bull quahog. I don't have very big hands, but you can see kind of the size of it. These are the ones that are good for putting the quahog stuffing back in. Did pretty good with the bulls this time. A lot of times you don't get them or enough to put back in the shells, so I use the little tin meatloaf pans, and I make like quahog meatloaf. Comes out really good. The trick to opening these is you have to let them go to sleep. I put them on the bottom shelf all the way in the back of my refrigerator, and tomorrow morning I'll get up early, tiptoe around, because they'll feel vibration. I know if my grandson's running around jumping up and down, ain't no opening no quahogs. That's for sure. Alright, so that's a little neck, that size there. As you can see, compared to the size of the bull quahog. Bull quahog's got a little more lifespan on it than the little neck. Well, here's the winner. Show everybody this. Red spot. These Town of Bourne, Buzzards Bay has a very good seed program. And they mark, like every basket of quahogs has a paint dot on it, from what I understand. So they basically know where they came from in the beginning before they threw them out in where the spots are to go quahogging. Say the little one's going to my mom's tomorrow for Mother's Day. Shuck them all open. And like I say, they're great raw. I was hoping to get a basket of soft-shell clams, but I didn't quite get the tide. Quahogs are in the water all the time, and soft-shell clams you gotta dig when the tide goes out. Okay, here we go. Alright, well there's that. Next up, opening the quahogs. Now that we got our basket of quahogs, that was probably one of the easiest parts, going out and scratching a basket of quahogs. It's relaxing, it's enjoyable. Now we're going to open them. I'm going to start out, this is not a traditional shellfish knife. Please, I don't recommend anybody opening quahogs or clams with a knife like this. This is all I've ever used. I got 50 years of working this knife opening shellfish. There's no edge on it. It's not sharp at all, but this is what I've learned to use. A traditional shellfish knife is almost this size, is shorter. There's no really sharp, not quite as much of an edge, and it's about this long, and it's totally rounded at the end, and it's equal on both sides. This is what I was handed to me when I was a kid. and this is what I learned to use, so this is what I use. Always talk nice to the quahogs, because if they get upset, they tighten up, and you ain't going to open them. So the key is put them in the refrigerator. I put them in the bottom shelf in the refrigerator, let them sit for a day, and they get nice and relaxed and cold, and take them out, open them up. If you get one that's stubborn and it doesn't want to open up, put it in the freezer for a few minutes, and then you'll be able to open it. If you got kids running around, jumping around the house, you ain't going to open no quahogs, because they can sense the vibration, and they tighten right up. And like I say, you don't get into them. Everything's got to be calm, peaceful. They like to be snuck up on. They don't. You shake one up, you move it around. If it's too much vibration, a lot of loud noise creating vibration, like I say, like kids running around, it does make a difference. I learned that with my kids and with my grandson. When they were around, you don't open quahogs. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the quahog in my hand like this. You have more of a pointed part, more of a rounded part. Start out, you put it in here, kind of rest it with your thumb, take your knife, there's a split, find the split, put your fingers right up against it, and just walk the knife right in, right like that. Then you want to pull it in so the blade goes inside. This is how I do it. And then you just give it a little turn, just a little bit, and you'll feel that you'll cut the muscle on this side of the quahog. Then you want to bring it all the way out, so you remove the knife like that. You don't want to cut the inside, the guts and everything. You bring it over the other side and you do the same thing. You just give it a little turn, and there you go. Now it's open, the two muscles have been cut, and if I didn't mess up, I didn't cut the meat on the inside of the quahog. Because that's where all the goodness is in the guts. And you go around, take your knife, cut this way, muscle off the shell, this way, muscle off the shell, and then come just right around like that, where it's attached right there to the shell. That's where it puts all the stuff into growing the shell. It all goes through that spot. You just cut that, and there you got it. You're saving your shells for taking and making stuffed quahogs. I always separate them, and then put them together. That way you got the two halves together. Okay, here we go. Your hand, pointed part facing you, rounded part right here, away from you. Take your knife, find the crack, wiggle it in, just crack the shell. Got that side cut, got that side cut. Sometimes the shell cracks, it's not a big deal. Just got one less to stuff. That's all. Make sure when you do it, when a shell cracks, get the little pieces of shell out. You don't want to eat them, they're pretty sharp. A little harder to open it up when it's backwards, because you get used to a certain way. And that goes out in the parking spot in my front yard. Nothing gets wasted. Okay, here we go. Take your knife, round part away from you, find the crack, in the crack, back, hit the muscle, come out a little bit, pull the knife, come around the other side, hit the muscle, and the quahog opens right up. Voila! Cut the muscle off that side, pull the quahog in, cut the muscle there, come around the other side, cut the muscle, and there you go. Goes in the water. Alright. Okay, here we go. In the crack. Went in, back to where you can sweep the knife just enough to cut the muscle, and you'll feel it. Just got to be gentle. Pull it out, come back around the other side, hit that muscle, and there you go. Like I say, the idea is not to cut the meat on the inside when you do it, because all the goodness goes away with all the water. Yummy. Okay, let's see. Show you this one, then I'll get them all opened up, and then we'll go to making up the stuffing for them. In the round edge. Yep, see that one's doesn't want to do it. Don't force it. If it's not going to go, it's not going to go. You're not going to make it though. Just put it down. Go to the next one. Right there. There we go. Snuck up on that one. One muscle. Bring the knife out. Bring it around. Hit the other muscle. Give it a crack. There you go. Excuse me. Pollen day. Cut the muscle. Cut the muscle. The meat off the muscle. Same thing. Cut the meat off the muscle. Cut the meat off the muscle. And you got it in the shell. And the best part about quahogs, there ain't no reason you gotta cook them. Delicious. Alright, let me get these opened up and make the stuffing. Okay. Last quahog. Show you one more time here. In on the round side. Move the knife in just enough to cut the muscle right here. Pull it out, come around, cut that muscle right there. Just give the shell a little bit of twist with a knife, and then you get your fingers in it and you open it up. One way, other way, cut the meat off the muscle. One way, the other way, cut it loose. Bring some of the water out of it. And enjoy. Okay, time to clean up the shells. Be back in a bit. Okay, real quick, I forgot to throw this in when I was shucking. Quick cleanup on the shells. You don't want to just leave them and then wait. First, right here, you get where the hinge is. There's a lot of times there's little pieces that are stuck to it. Just kind of rub them off with your finger. They fall right off. Just take a rag, give it a quick wipe, second rinse, throw it on the pan. Pretty easy. That's about all there is to it. Say, just take your quahog where the hinge is. Make sure you get the little chunks off. Quick wipe. Put it on the pan. Keep them so they're by twos. And here's one. This is what I'm talking about right here. This piece right here, this is part of the hinge. See it? Comes right off. You want to get that out of there because you don't want nobody chomping on that, because you're going to be stuffing the shell and putting the quahog back in the shell, because that's going to be your pan in the oven. That's it. Dip. Done. Alright, you get it. That's pretty simple. That's the easy part. Alright, it's time to make the stuffing for the quahogs. Start out with, got the universal grinder. I don't recommend using a food processor because you want more of a chunky type of stuffing and not like a puree, especially with the quahogs and the vegetables. Got your auger, your crank. That's the one I like to use. It's about the best one I got for getting good chunks. Or you can chop it by hand. But like I say, I found this is the old school, I guess you could say the Cape Cod way, maybe, or just whole world, no motor, done by hand. Alright, so we're going to start with the quahogs. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 containers of quahogs. I got my bread. You gotta have bread for stuffing. I like Pepperage Farm, the oatmeal bread. It's a nice hearty body bread. Some Italian breadcrumbs. I like Progresso. I got these at Renzi's, but they didn't have Progresso, they were out. Got red onion, vidala onion. I want the sticker going in the compost pile. We got a couple of green peppers, got a red pepper, and some Gasper's linguisa. Yummy, yummy. Portuguese sausage. You can put whatever you want. It's the whole idea is like stuffed quahogs. It's like making a stuffing or a shepherd's pie. And whatever you want, you can put in it. I got some of these little aluminum pans because you always seem to have extra stuffing and not enough shells. Okay. I use this pan to grind everything in. It just makes it easier. I got a towel on the floor because it can get a little messy. And the weather today ain't the greatest for outside. And I'll tell you what, these things have been sitting in the back of the refrigerator overnight. Boy, are they cold. Hardest part is not to eat them all. Okay. Finish grinding up the quahogs. I'll be right back. Okay. Now we got quahogs all ground up. That's kind of the consistency that you're looking for. I can't tip it too much, it'll be all over my floor. If you want chunky, put them in the pan. I use a pan because I don't have a bowl big enough. And one of the keys with making stuffed quahogs is for what you have for quahogs, you want to keep it at least 35 to 40% quahog. Commercial sold stuffed quahogs, they're probably, I'm going to take a guess, maybe 10-15%. I like to have at least 50% quahog. I like a really strong tasting quahog, stuffed quahog. But for Mother's Day, I gave my mom all the smaller quahogs because she loves them. My mom's 95 and she deserves the best. The red onion going here. I should have found a sharper knife, but it'll do it. I like to mix up onions. The red onion gives it nice color and nice oniony flavor. Just a little bit. You don't want to put too much of anything in and overtake the taste of the quahogs. The idea is to taste the quahog. That's why it's a stuffed quahog. I get it. I don't got no fingernails, it makes it harder. Almost there. Yeah, we're good. Same thing, same size piece for the grinder. This works really good at making everything nice, proper sized chunks. What do we got? Just want to give just another little smidgen for the onion. Don't want to get carried away. Onions are very, very powerful vegetable. Okay, there's that. Starting to feel it in my eyes now. But I'll make it. Just do it and get it done. That's the key. some people put celery in. Sometimes I'll mix up. I'll use some green peppers, some red peppers, some yellow peppers, some orange peppers, make it a little comfortable, colorful. What do you got? All right. Yep. Today, the weather is just a tad bit misty right now. It's about 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:15, something like that. And very damp and raw. It's only 51 degrees with a breeze. Okay, what do we got? Maybe just a little more. Okay, that takes care of that. Let's throw some green pepper in. Try to keep things as simple as possible. Someday I'm going to enter my quahogs in a stuffed quahog contest. Because everybody that's ever had them has told me that they're the best that they've ever had. The only one that won't admit that is my mom. But I will say she makes one heck of a stuffed quahog. Kind of where I got my idea from. Everybody, like I say, everybody does it different. But the one thing I have found around here, I'm in Buzzards Bay, got New Bedford, which is a predominantly Portuguese city. That's why the I guess linguisa comes into play, I guess you could say. In the stuffed quahogs, some people like to use cerise. It's a little spicier. I'm not a big spice person. But I'm not in an English diet, I guess you could say. Okay, what do we got? All right, let's do some red pepper. It doesn't matter if you get a couple of pepper seeds in there. Nobody will see them, nobody will taste them, and they're probably good for you anyway. These stuffed quahogs are great. I love stuffed quahogs. Very fortunate where I live, because I will say we have the best seafood in the world, right here. And it's going away fast, sadly to say. Let me get my hands quick right here. We've basically lost all the bay scallops due to the lack. Eelgrass is gone, which is really, really sad. Because bay scallops were the best tasting shellfish there ever was. And from what I see, and you know, this is my opinion, it's everything that people put on their lawn, between the fertilizers, the pesticides. I can walk around here and show numerous places where people have the fancy grass with all the fertilizers and pesticides that goes right to the edge of the water. And it's sad that that's what happens, but that's when Chemlon came out in the late 70s, early 80s, that's when we started to lose the eelgrass and the scallops went away. roughly use about a pound and a half of linguisa for a basket of quahogs. This is all based on basically a full basket of quahogs. Okay, and we got that. And there's a mixture of linguisa, onions, and peppers. So we get this in here without splashing and making a mess. Okay, there's that. Okay, rinse the hands again here. Alright, now the bread. Like I say, I like the Pepperage Farm oatmeal bread. And do the same thing with the bread that I did with quahogs and vegetables. Stay focused, you don't want to get your fingers stuck in the grinder. That would be silly. You know, if anybody else, you know, you watch the video and you make your own stuffed quahogs, let me know what you use. I'm always curious to try something new. You know, we tend to get and do things a certain way, because of the way we were taught. You know, your dad drove a Ford, you drove a Ford. Kind of the way it worked. But, like I say, I'm up for change, trying something different. Because you never know. It may be better. You may like it better. Grinding the bread this way makes nice little perfect size bread chunks. Get in there. Okay, just need a couple more slices here and we're good. That'll do it. Can't believe the price of bread right now. This bread at Stop and Shop is $4.99 for a loaf of bread. You know, I remember when bread was 25 cents a loaf. Times have changed. Almost done with the bread. Then it's dump in the breadcrumbs and mix it up. You want to save some of your quahog juices because you got to have the right consistency. You don't want it too dry, you don't want it too wet. So you just, sometimes it's pretty close just from the juice from grinding the quahogs. Sometimes you got to add a little bit, but you don't want to add fresh water. Fresh water ruins shellfish, ruins seafood. Okay, and that's that. Everything's ground. Get this out of the way. One thing I want to show you real quick, on the universal grinders they make two. This one has a drip gutter underneath it, so everything goes into the pan. This is the one you want to use, or if you're going to get one, get the one that has the drip gutter on it, because if you don't have the drip gutter, it goes all over the table. So universal, this one's a universal 71. They're pretty easy to find. A lot of like antique type shops, you know, they'll have one or two of them in there. You can get them off of eBay or you know, if you got a relative that doesn't use one anymore or has 2 or 3 of them, pretty common for people to have a few. Okay, there's our bread. That in the pan. And that does a good job if you do the bread last to get all the juices from the vegetables and the quahogs out of the pan so they get utilized. That can go away. Okay. That can go there. Alright, ain't half a can. Come on, fingers. You can do it. Okay, and then just a few more. Okay, over here, garlic powder, just a little bit, little flavor. I like to throw a little parsley in it. That's it for that. Okay, let's see. Okay, bear with me here. Right. This is the only way you can mix it. Best way to do it is by hand. A little more breadcrumbs. Oh, it's gonna taste good. So you don't want to go overboard, but you gotta have a little bit. It smells good. Yep, mix it up really good. Then you want to let it sit for a few minutes and let the quahog juices soak into the bread. Soften up the breadcrumbs so it doesn't, because if you don't do that, the breadcrumbs can come out kind of tasting a little, the quahog will be like, taste a little gritty. You don't want that. Kind of takes the fun out of it. You want it to be chunky but nice and smooth. And yes, it's something that grows in the sand, in the mud, so you may get that occasional little crunch of a grain of sand or something. It's impossible to make sure you didn't get it, you get it all. Because sometimes even a little piece of it can be in the belly of the quahog. Okay, there we go. She's pretty well mixed. That's what we got. Sticky stuff. Okay. Let me get the shells. I'll be right back. Alright. There we go. Got our shells out. I got my mess cleaned up. Quahog's been sitting, soaking up some of the juice, the breadcrumbs. I got my tin foil ready to wrap the quahogs. One thing I neglected when I was doing the shells to say is you want to put the shells while everything is, keep them in the refrigerator till you're ready to use them. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Grab your 2 halves. Nice glob. You want to stuff quahogs. So you want to really stuff them. Pile more than what you need on there. Knock it down. The other half of the shell. Kind of just work it together. Don't squish it so the two sides of the shell touch. You don't need to do that. I like to try the big shells like this. I like to try to keep them, see, about a ½ inch apart. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And I'm going to wrap it with tin foil. When you bake it, it doesn't dry out. And once you get the pan empty that I got, I'll pile them all back on the pan and cook them in the oven because they do sometimes like to drip. Nice big load. Stop at about a ½ inch. Kind of clean a little off the edge. Done deal. You think you guys are getting the idea? Pretty basic. Stuffed quahog. Stuff it with stuffing. I say the key is you want to be good and stuffed. And the best part about my quahogs is you can see all the different ingredients. Give you a little better look here. And that's what you got. You got red pepper, green pepper, onion. You see little flakes of quahog, pieces of quahog, and the breadcrumbs. Gotta be good. This is my supper tonight. Stuffed quahog. And usually this is one of them things, usually I have enough quahogs in my freezer. Once you get them made, you can cook them, freeze them. I like to have one almost every night. Kind of one of them things that you enjoy. Alright, let me get these stuffed and I'll be right back. Alright, and there you have it. They're ready to go in the oven. Got 22 quahogs. These are the bigger ones. And these are the ones that are a little bit smaller, because these are going to take a little less time to cook than these. The bigger ones I'm going to put in for probably roughly close to an hour. Smaller ones, probably 45 minutes. I got my oven set at 375. And I just kind of know when they're done. I can tell by how the kitchen smells. That's the easiest way for me to explain it to you. You got to kind of go and know your oven and know everything, how it cooks, how fast it cooks and everything. You don't want to overcook them. I like to kind of stay away from overcooking them because you're going to reheat them. And then you reheat them, you overcook them twice. That's not good. So you want them nice and juicy, and the muscle parts of the quahog, if you overcook, they get hard like shoe leather. You don't want that to happen. So it worked out pretty good. Basket of quahogs. I got 22 stuffed, 1 shell left over. So I did pretty good. I'm happy with that. That never happens. I didn't have to use my pans. Alright, 375. They're going in the oven. I'll be back when they're cooked. Alrighty, the quahogs are done. Let's pull them out of the oven. And go back to working on the horn outside here. I'm going to turn the oven off. Okay. Look at that. If you only had smell-o-vision, you could tell how good it smells in here. Someday, who had smell-o-vision? Was it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Were they the ones that came up with that? I think that's what it was. If I'm wrong, correct me. Here's the smaller ones. They're ready to go. My daughter's coming over to grab a few to bring to Ma so she can have them fresh today. And there you go. And thank everybody for watching me make Buzzards Bay home-style stuffed quahogs. They say if you guys got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Glad to help you out your first time. Just like I say, make them the way you like them. Put whatever you want in them, like shepherd's pie or sausage or You know, making a spaghetti sauce, stuff them with what you want. The key ingredient is quahog. Alrighty, everybody. Have a marvelous day. God bless America.